Hi, everyone. I want to talk to you today about the changes to Air Force ROTC scholarship program, or what's called the HSSP for application year 2024 to 2025. So really the two key changes that you need to be aware of is first is the reintroduction of the Type 2 scholarship. So in the previous 2 to 3 years before this application year, the Air Force changed their scholarship types. They used to offer a Type 1, which pays for all tuition at any public or private college or university, a Type 2, which would pay $18,000 a year annually, and then a Type 7, which pays for in-state tuition at colleges and universities. A couple of years ago, they eliminated the Type 7 and the Type 2 scholarships for HSSP scholarship winners and just did a Type 1. However, this year, they're reintroducing the Type 2 scholarship, which again is not a full scholarship that pays tuition at any public or private college or university, but rather only pays $18,000 a year or $9,000 per semester, or $6,000 per quarter. So that's the first major change, is that reintroduction of that scholarship type. The second one is a redefinition of college majors, adding what's called a criticality rating. So that's the introduction of a criticality rating from 1 to 4, which prioritizes majors during the scholarship process. Those are the two major changes. What I want to talk to you about now is the impact of those changes as I see it. With the introduction of the Type 2, that's not as generous of a scholarship as the full scholarship, Type 1, which would pay for any public or private college or university. So if you want to go to a private college that costs $50,000 or $60,000 a year, $18,000 a year isn't going to get it done. So we're not sure exactly how many Type 2s versus Type 1s there are, but our estimate is probably about a 50-50 split. So if there's 1,000 scholarships given out for Air Force ROTC high school scholarship program, 500 will be Type 2s and 500 will be Type 1s. So first of all, the impact is that if you get a Type 2 and you want to go to a private school, you've got to figure out a way to make up the difference. So that's the first impact. The second thing that you need to be concerned about or need to be aware about is that Air Force ROTC runs 3 boards a year. They run an October board, which looks at scholarships for Air Force ROTC, a January, February board, which considers Space Force, and then a March board, which considers Air Force ROTC again. If you get all of your materials in and do your interview and are able to compete on the October board and you're awarded a Type 2 scholarship, that's the scholarship you're getting. You're not going to get a Type 1 scholarship upgraded later. One thing you may want to consider is if you believe that you can improve your SAT score between, say, September, October, all the way through to the last SAT or ACT test date at the end of the year, that may be beneficial for you and may allow you to get a Type 1 scholarship versus a Type 2 scholarship if you can improve your application. That may be a consideration for not competing on the October board, particularly if you want that Type 1 scholarship versus that Type 2 scholarship. So the SAT score, ACT score, really you're shooting for in order to be in the ballpark of that Type 1 scholarship is 1,400 SAT or around a 32 ACT. Now, I've seen people who got a Type 1 below that, but generally that's the area that you're going to want to shoot for if you want that Type 1. The other consideration financially regarding a Type 2 scholarship is that there's a number of states that offer in-state tuition rates to out-of-state students for an Air Force ROTC scholarship that are on contract. And then, of course, there's reciprocal agreements with other states for in-state tuition. So this is something, if you get that Type 2 or are interested in going to a public school, you need to be aware of and need to consider now, because the Type 2 is not going to pick up all the tuition if you don't have reciprocal agreements with another state. If you were on an Air Force ROTC contract, so if you sign a Type 2 contract when you begin your freshman year with Air Force ROTC. There's certain states that will give you in-state tuition if you're on a ROTC contract. And those are Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, North Dakota, and Texas. Again, Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, North Dakota, and Texas. Oklahoma is an interesting case in that they give in-state tuition if you're on an ROTC contract or you're just participating in ROTC. So that's kind of a neat thing for Oklahoma in that you don't even need to be a contracted cadet to get in-state tuition. And then there's a couple of specific schools that offer in-state tuition. Two of them are University of Georgia and Michigan Tech are two state schools that offer in-state tuition. So those are things that you should consider if you are interested in a public school and interested in certain states. They'll give you that in-state tuition if you're an ROTC cadet, particularly one that's on contract. Those are the considerations regarding the Type 2 versus the Type 1 scholarship. Let's go ahead and shift over to the major selection and why that's important. Regarding majors, about 70% of the high school scholarship program scholarships go to technical majors. 70% go to technical majors, 10% go to language majors, and then 20% go to what we call general studies, which are non-technical or non-STEM majors. Inside the technical majors are criticality rating. So the criticality rating ranges from 1 to 4. Now, Air Force ROTC hasn't designated any criticality 3 or 4 levels right now. They've only given criticality levels for 1 and 2 so far. There's only a very small select technical majors that are criticality level 1. And those are electrical and computer engineering. Anything to do in computer engineering or electrical engineering is criticality level 1 technical. The other technical major with criticality level 1 is atmospheric science. If you select those, are going to be given more emphasis and will probably give you a better chance of getting a scholarship if you opt for any other, say, engineering or STEM majors that aren't criticality level 1. So criticality level 2, which is one notch below criticality level 1, are almost all of your other engineering majors. So that could be civil engineering, mechanical engineering, engineering in general. Interestingly, some of the technical majors that don't have engineering as a part of it are not in criticality level 1 and 2. So that makes me believe they're in criticality level 3 and 4. And that would be majors such as chemistry, mathematics, physics, statistics, probability, those types of majors that are technical, but yet not engineering based. As I mentioned before, 10% of the scholarships for the high school scholarship program are for languages. The criticality level 1 for languages is Russian and Chinese. If you make the decision that you want to major in language, then it's to your advantage to decide to major in Chinese or Russian, as that will be given more emphasis for the 10% of scholarship majors that decide to major in languages. Overall, with the reintroduction of the Type 2 scholarship, you really need to think strategically about your choices because the Type 2 scholarship, while it's a good scholarship, doesn't get the job done with full tuition at many schools. So you need to think about where you're going to go to school, maybe schools that give in-state tuition for out-of-state students and things like that, that can allow you to pay for your college. And then with the criticality ratings, it means that some fields of study in technical majors and language majors are going to be given more emphasis and more chance of getting a scholarship. You just want to be aware of that so that if you want to major in things like electrical engineering or computer engineering, that's certainly going to give you a boost over the other engineering majors. In short, it's all about really making well-informed decisions, making sure that you understand these changes to the Air Force ROTC high school scholarship program so that you can really work to get the best possible outcome for you in competing for these scholarships. So I really wish you the best as you apply for these scholarships in application year 2024 and 2025. And I remind you that we at ROTC Scholarship Consulting can help you in a variety of ways in order to navigate this process to include helping you through the entire process, helping you with interview preparation, essay editing, et cetera. So just please reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to talk to you more about that. So until next time, take care.